Hey everyone, Visually Stunning Movie Podcast back at you. I'm Mark. Ryan's at the other end of the mic. How you doing today, Ryan?
We're hanging in there. We're doing good.
We're hanging in there. We're doing good. We watched a movie that it's got some names in it this week. And oh man.
Mm.
Okay, so look, James McAvoy's in it. Everybody loves James McAvoy. I don't know anybody that doesn't love James McAvoy. Whether you love him from the X-Men movies or Split and Glass, the Shyamalaniverse, or his other work, starting all the way back to Atonement, which I still
Yeah,
need to see, by the way. Um,
yeah, you do.
but yeah. So Speak No Evil, a remake of the Danish film from 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I love Hollywood, don't you? Uh,
Well, there's
uh,
there's all sorts of things. We can dive into some of that later, but yeah, it's anyway.
yeah, right. It's Hollywood. It's like, come on, man, 2 years. That
Yeah,
seems a bit much. They had a few years before they went to the girl in the
yeah.
with dragon tattoo
Dragon
stuff.
Tattoo. Yeah, but what's also interesting is we say it's a Danish film, but some of it's in English.
A lot, yes. A
So
lot of it is in English.
so it's
So,
almost not even an English remake,
right?
English
It's
language remake.
it's
Anyways,
it no, it's an American remake.
yes, there we go.
So that's I use that term in my written review. It's an American remake. It is a psychological thriller slash horror slash drama um about this couple, an American couple
Yeah.
displaced to England for work who go to Italy on vacation and meet another couple played by who are they also live in Great Britain. I don't know if it's in England or if it's in Ireland or if it's in Scotland, but it is way out there. But they are also vacationing in Italy,
Well, they
and
they drove, so I'm assuming it's Scottish territory.
yeah,
That's
it
what
could
I'm
be.
guessing.
That's true. But yeah, so they meet on this like week long or 2 week long holiday in Europe because apparently you can just do that in Italy, and they strike up a they hang out a little bit, and they're invited to come visit them at their place in Scotland. We'll call it Scotland for now,
The homestead.
the homestead. And they are a couple played by Mackenzie Davis and Scoot McNairy. Ben and Louise and their daughter Agnes go back to London, and they get a postcard from Patty and Ciara, James McAvoy and Aisling Franciosi, who we'll talk about in a minute. I had to look up her filmography and go, duh. Um, Inviting them again to come out for a weekend.
Yeah.
So drive north for a weekend. So they, there's some hitches in Ben and Louise's relationship, but they decide to go for the weekend. So they take Agnes and they go up for the weekend. Um, where Agnes hangs out with Aunt Patty and Ciara's son, who has a medical condition and he can't talk. He has trouble communicating. That's how they put it. He has trouble communicating.
He
Um,
has he has he has a tongue issue.
he has a tongue issue. Um, so yeah, but then the weekend goes along and it seems great, but it's not like it was in Italy. Because they're out on this homestead. They got farm, they got animals. They hunt predators, like foxes to keep them away from stuff. So these are two very different couples. They come from very different backgrounds, despite the fact that our protagonists are American. Um, and so this is a culture clash,
Yeah.
and so much more. Now we are going to wind up touching back to the original a lot
Yeah.
in this. Um, you can watch it. It's available. If you have, I think, if you have AMC Plus, you can stream the 2022 version of Speak No Evil. I watched it for free through an app called Hoopla, which is tied to my library card of all things. So that was weird. I watched that today, and I learned that today. But it is out there. It's not hard to find. You can watch it if you want to do a comparison of the two. But we are going to touch between the two. Um, let's start with the easy stuff. James
Mm.
McAvoy is really good at playing creepy, but not like he's like he can be subtle creepy in that really good way that you like in your creepy people. when you're watching a movie, not in like your
Okay.
real life. If it was your creepy neighbor, it wouldn't be nearly as cool.
No.
But in a film, it's nice to get that level of creep. And so that's great. So like I said, there's a little bit of Glass and Split. Kevin Wendell Crumb in here.
Yeah. He's a unhinged individual pretending to be in control.
Yes. And like the drunk driver that can keep it between the lines a lot of the time, not all the time.
Correct.
So that's what we get with him. And again, Aisling Franciosi, Ciara, his wife, she's great. She again, I had to look her up because I was like, I know her. And she was in a movie we both loved earlier this year called Stop Motion.
Yeah. Okay.
Great movie. Another great off the wall horror movie. Go. There's a link to it in my written review, or you can just go search it. It's just an episode on Acast, so just go and find it. You'll find it. But the link is in my thing. That we both, that was a wackadoodle film in the best way. In the best way. But then she was also in what was the other one? Last Voyage of the Demeter. Movie we really wanted to like more than we did. So
that didn't really let us.
That didn't really let us. And of course, Mackenzie Davis, she was in The Martian. She was in Terminator, the last one.
Yeah.
Whatever that one was, which I actually enjoyed. So I like Mackenzie Davis. So that was great. So the cast is good. But James McAvoy, he makes the story happen. Mostly by veering outside the lines. That's when the movie moves into the psychological stuff.
Yeah.
How did you feel overall about this particular version? Because you have seen the original.
I did see the original, and it was one of those things that what happened. And I don't remember if I saw it at Sundance or soon after or what exactly, but there was a point in the movie where I suddenly, because to be fair, the film is fairly generic in its setup. A couple goes to remote location. It's not. So there was a part of me at one point in this film that was like, I think I know what this movie is that it was based on, and then it totally veered in a direction that the original didn't go in, and so I left thinking, well, maybe I'm just confusing this with something else, because if I remember correctly, the Danish title was like The Guest or so. I don't know. Anyway,
it was Guest. Yeah, I wrote it. I can't pronounce it. Don't ask me to pronounce it.
This is one of those things where I was utterly confused. But what I did know, and I firmly believe, is that this film is vastly inferior to the original, because the original, there's a point in this film where our lovely couple makes the decision that there's no real coming back from, which ironically is coming back anyway. But there is a point of no return in this film. And there is just, and to have an ending that this film has, this particular version, betrays the realities of the situation.
Yes.
And it betrays there is a line that sums everything up that doesn't work in this film the way that it works in the original.
Yes.
So I left utterly confused, but knowing that I had seen at least something that was similar that actually worked.
The first two acts of this movie are basically copy paste from the original. A lot of because look, we saw this Monday night.
Yeah.
I watched, and it is now Wednesday. I watched the original today. There are lines and dialogue that are straight lifted with and sometimes the only modification is place or name.
Yeah.
Until you get to the third act. And that is where you're right. This movie the original goes left, and this one does a U-turn and goes back 2 miles and then turns right.
And
Yeah. And it is you vastly inferior is what I believe what you called it. I have pale reflection of the source material. But let's be clear. If this movie comes out and it's not, and if this is the original film, it's pretty good.
But I also would say it's pretty good, but it's still, the ending doesn't work for me.
No, and it's a very Hollywood ending.
Yes, and which is really strange because this film doesn't need one. Like, I don't understand why it needs a Hollywood ending.
Because it's Hollywood. And
but
because
I don't know.
But here's the thing: if you're only gonna wait 2 years, you have to change the ending.
Well, I don't know, because here's the thing.
I'm not saying intelligently. Yeah. I'm saying from a business standpoint.
But the original didn't make money. The original actually lost millions of dollars. I think it was a $3 million production. I think it ultimately made $500,000.
Something like that.
So it's not as if the ending was out there for the masses.
Right.
It was out there, but I can guarantee you that the majority of the people who see this film have either no idea that it was that it's based on another film,
right,
or actually never even, it wasn't readily available. I mean, everything, I guess, to a certain degree in the modern age is readily available,
right,
but it wasn't even something that was talked about.
No.
And oddly enough, I would say the only reason why the film was talked about was its ending, because the setup, again, is not really all that different from stuff we've seen. And I do, and we talked a little bit about, the masculinity and the niceties things. And I think you're probably accurate in that this is not this is about the manners of people.
Yes.
And to it, and is critical of those manners.
Yes.
And the way that society incorporates them, and the sort of dishonesty that happens because of the niceties.
Yeah. Hey everyone, welcome back to season 9 of the Visually Stunning Movie Podcast. If you like what you're seeing and hearing, please feel free to like us, share us, follow us wherever you're listening to us, actually. If you're on YouTube, click subscribe. That would be great. Go to the website at vsmoviepodcast.com, and that will give you links to all of our socials. It'll give you write-ups of stuff that's not audio, but you'll get pretty much everything there. So if you like what you're seeing and hearing, make sure you share it with everyone else. Now let's get back to the show. But I don't consider this. I mean, James McAvoy has said he based this character partly off of what Andrew Tate.
Yeah.
He really wanted to really express the toxic masculinity. Really don't see it.
No, not really.
He's a manly man in a lot of ways, but he's not like the brawny paper towel guy. He's not that manly, and he's certainly not toxically male, because when you see him with Ciara, all the time, it's not there.
Not really. No, I'd agree with you on that. I think that their relationship, and I don't think I think that the illusion of this film has to be, and I think it does a decent job of this, that their relationship is normal, that they are people who are in love, and that they are, to a certain degree, on the same level as each other. Because if you don't have that illusion, it's kind of a different film.
Yeah. I mean, well, yeah, you're right. But let's talk about the end for a minute. Again, we're not. I don't want to. We're not spoiling this for you guys for either film.
No.
Let's just the original. That's dark.
Oh yeah.
That is dark and brutal, and I loved it, because I love when filmmakers are willing to go there at the end of the film. Not as a plot device a third of the way through, but to go, and this is where our story ends. And
Yeah.
it's like, you know why? Because sometimes
That's the way
that's
the
where the
story ends.
story ends.
Yeah.
You know, you could have changed the ending of this one from the original and kept the intent and the bleakness of it, and it still would have been original. I came up with one while I was sitting here, but I can't tell you what it is
Yeah.
because it would imply what the ending of the first one is.
Well, and here's the
So I don't
thing
want to
though.
do that.
This is I think the ending we get is not there. There are complaints by people who watch various films who say that the character becomes something that is not supported by the narrative, that the character becomes a different character for the sake of the narrative rather than a natural progression.
Right.
And I would argue that that's the biggest problem with the ending that we're given to this American version, is that at least one character suddenly transforms into something that she has not been the entire film. Gosh, I kind of just revealed it by doing the gender thing. Anyway, but
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of she's in this movie.
okay, that's true. Anyway, but it's like it's such a leap for this particular character to become what they become, that I think that it's disingenuous. And I think if you're going to make a movie that is saying something, well, go ahead and just say it, and be, and I think the original film really has something to say. And
Yeah, it does. And what's funny is that this version explains all of that
yes, but it doesn't.
literally at the
Yeah,
end
yeah,
or near the end. And it's like, no, you've gone away from sometimes that's just what happens.
yeah,
But in this one, here is the long convoluted reason why this happens. And it's like, why?
yeah.
Why?
Well, don't. Yeah, just show it. Well, they had to explain it because they didn't show it.
Well, in the first one, they didn't show anything. It is
Well,
this,
yeah,
and that's how it ends.
yeah.
They don't explain any of it. They don't explain why X, why Y, or why Z.
No, but
None of it.
but you get it. As far
Yeah,
as I don't
yeah.
know.
I mean, you
Anyway,
can, or you can accept that maybe
well,
it
sure. No,
just
okay,
happens.
yeah. It's not motivated by some. Anyway, yeah,
Yeah, right. But I mean, yeah, but this film it it, it delves a little deeper into like human disconnection than the original does in terms of so there's a whole little interlude about social media and the internet and blah blah
yeah,
blah.
yeah,
But it's kind of throwaway. It doesn't really play into it except when they explain something at the end. Um and then yeah, that connection aspect kind of rears its ugly head again. But overall, it's not like I said. Overall, the first couple acts are like it's basically the same movie. It's get this couple out of their comfort zone and just slow boil them, and that's what
yeah.
happens,
Well, and see how much it'll take.
right?
You know, and to a certain degree, I don't know that the couple is incredibly sympathetic, and I think that's an interesting aspect as well.
Yeah,
I think there are a couple people in this film that you might feel a sort of sense of sympathy for, and that's partially because they have no control over what's happening, really.
yep,
Um, but yeah, I guess, yeah, I left the theater going, this did not end the way that it's supposed to end, or the way
no,
that feels true to the narrative that it just doesn't. It's
yeah,
it's it's not like the worst twist in the history of cinema by any stretch of the imagination, but it does just feel wrong.
it's a very pedestrian ending,
Yeah, it's like, okay, we're gonna go from a movie that we've seen to another movie that we've seen.
Right.
The originality of the original was the last act. Or is it? I don't know. At least the last act was brave.
Yes.
Put it that way.
Yes.
It was brave, whereas this kind of wimped out at the end.
Right. You know what? If Ryan Reynolds made a horror movie, it would end like the original.
Yeah, well, because
he does with Deadpool. It's like, no, this is the way it has to go.
Yeah.
If he makes a horror movie, it ends like the original of this one does. It does not end like this. So this would be the Disney version of the Ryan Reynolds Fox version.
Yeah, I guess if we're gonna, that's probably. I mean, that's not entirely inaccurate. It's just the irony being it's a very unpleasant film to begin with.
Yeah.
So why are you worried about making it unpleasant? It's already there.
Because it is not uncomfortable to sit through this movie. This movie is uncomfortable to watch.
But and maybe to a fault as well, because there are so many red flags.
Yeah, I know, right?
It's like so many that there is. I mean, I don't want to say the original film was a masterpiece, because I don't think it was. No. But it was better and more true to what it was. Which is, it's just weird to be in this position, because I don't think the original was phenomenal, but I think that in comparison, it was better.
Yes, absolutely. You're absolutely right. The same red flags are there. The same poor choices are there.
It's kind of a victim to the trope of audiences screaming, "No, don't do that. No, don't go back there."
What? Go back there? Okay, I'll go back there.
Yeah, I mean, because there is a lot of stuff in this where you're just like, come on, people.
I know, right?
You come on.
Yeah, well, I mean, at your point of no return.
Yeah.
I'm just the dick dad. It's like,
sure.
Sorry, dear.
Sure.
Yes, we've come this far. We're going.
We got something to work on here. We're gonna have to work on it at some point anyway. Now might as well be the time to work on it.
Exactly. So yeah, but I was like, no, there's not a dad on the. I don't know. That's crazy.
But the way that whole thing, even the next scene, how it plays out, you're just like, what in the world? Like,
yeah,
you're being toyed with, and if you can't figure that out, what are you? I mean, anyway.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. But again, it's not unenjoyable, but it is disappointing.
Yeah, I would just say that it ends up just being kind of fine.
Fine. Yeah, pretty much. That's probably the way to go. It's fine. It's not going to win the box office. There's too much other good stuff in theaters still. We'll see how that shakes out. But yeah, it's not. But it does open this Friday. Speak No Evil 2024 edition opens in theaters this Friday, September 13th, from Blumhouse. And their formula plays, a lot of people, a lot of talk, small sets.
Yeah.
Small locations. Again, and the creep factor is high for a lot of this movie. So it's not without its positive points. But it does Disneyfy a little bit the ending. So sadly, and still manages to be creepy. It drops one more horrific bit. Before we get that Disney ending. And I was just like, but I was like, good.
Well, it's kind of disturbing because the audience really loved it too.
I know. God, there were so many cheers.
And it was just like,
in that screen, and I'm like,
okay.
Wow.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, right. But when that part hit, that last little bit of horrific imagery, I was like, deserved and earned. Not out of character.
No.
Nope.
Unlike the other thing that kind of was out of character.
Anyway. Yeah, a little bit. So there you go. That is Speak No Evil. James McAvoy, Mackenzie Davis, Scoot McNairy, and Franciosi in theaters this Friday. There's one screening next week for a film I saw at Sundance. I will not be seeing it again. I do not know if you're going to go see it.
I will be out of town. So.
You'll be out of town. So yeah. So then the next thing, we have a couple the week after that.
Yeah.
We do have a movie tomorrow night to watch.
Yes.
I'm not even sure when is it open this week as well?
I'm not sure. I'll have to look. But
it's Thursday. I would hope not.
Yeah, thriller horror.
That would be dumb. Another thriller. Oh yeah, it is another thriller horror, isn't it? Yeah. Well, I'll just say it because I don't know when it's going to come out. It's Halle Berry's Never Let Go.
Yeah.
Which feels like it should be a Sundance film, and it may have been a Sundance film.
I don't recall.
But yeah, we'll see. So it's going to be another horror thriller, and we'll definitely be talking about that. Don't forget to like us, follow us on social media, go to the website, vsmoviepodcast.com. All the links are there. You can visit Ryan over at glitterguttertrash.com, where he's posting his stuff. Make sure you check that out as well. Let us know what you think of what we're doing. Like us, follow us, share us, leave us a review or a rating wherever you're listening. That would be helpful as well. And anything else you want to talk about today?
No, we're good.
Nah, we're good. Take it easy, everyone. Be good. Stay safe. Go see a good movie in the theaters this weekend. Enjoy the end of the summer. The early autumn spooky season is upon us.
Yay.
Till next time, I'm Mark. That's Ryan. Bye, Ryan.
See you guys.
We'll talk to you all later.